So in this experiment, they drove down the entire length of Sunset Boulevard, taking a photograph every 30 seconds. They then cut out one repeating element in each one of those frames and then sandwiched together into one image. So in this example, this is Sunset Boulevard, the entire length, in typography. This shows any and all typography that could be found along Sunset Boulevard. So within every frame shot, they just cut out the type. And what we see is a landscape, something that we wouldn't see without the intervention of design. This is the same process in glass. This is what the landscape looks like if we were to only cut out glass. This is the entire length of Sunset Boulevard in one frame. The results and the way this influenced the final project was that they took these glass shapes and they made them into screens. The screens then hearken to something that you're familiar with subconsciously and that you actually understand on a different level, that all of these are taken from auto glass and that they look like windshields and windows and rear view mirrors and headlights and other forms of glass. The shapes, the forms, the textures, and the materials were all taken from the experience and the research done. So this is the question, and this was what the actual photo assignment was all about. It wasn't just about learning about the principles of design, it was trying to teach you that you can be inspired anywhere you are, just by keeping your eyes and ears open. I used this analogy of your doorknob. If you were asked to draw your doorknob right now, would you know exactly what it looks like? Would you be able to identify the logo on the actual keyhole? Would you be able to look and notice and identify where the screws are, what type of screws they are, how it locks, all the details about how it meets the door, where exactly is it on the door, how does the latch come out of the door, what does the plate from the latch look like that comes out of the door? If I asked you to draw that in detail right now from memory, could you? Do you pay attention to the things around you? It's been said that a stranger sees more in your home in an hour than you do in a lifetime, just because it's so familiar and you don't pay attention. So here's a different example. What if we were to take common everyday objects and relate them, if our eyes are open, to projects that we have in the future? So what if a designer was asked to design something about children and war? So you take metaphors from your life, metaphors that you've identified about children, metaphors you've identified about children at war, and you combine them. What if you take concepts that you've seen in the world, such as perforated paper, and you apply it to a problem like this, a divorce attorney? Or what about the opposite, same concept in a different way, for a marriage counselor? Pinhole photography is something that our photography majors should understand. And this harkens back to that moment. Just punching a hole through the card hints at, harkens back to the pinhole camera. It's an inside joke. But if you keep your eyes and ears open and look for opportunities, you'll find that your design solutions will be more interesting. For example, just noticing the shape left over in the hand of somebody holding a cigarette and noticing that it's similar to a coffin. Can we enhance that? Of course we can. Or thinking about the relationship between a shovel and a ship when talking about growing our own food. What implements are used in growing our own food? Think about the research that went into the development and the making of these projects. These people kept their eyes and their ears open. So remember, your good ideas don't have to be pretty initially. What do you think this is? Some of you have guessed Super Soaker, and you're absolutely right. It doesn't have to be pretty. This is actually now the product offering of Super Soakers, starting from this one PVC pipe and idea. This was actually made by a scientist at JPL looking at pressure systems using water, and he developed this as an offshoot of some of his research for JPL. Anybody know what this is? This is the first one of these. See, for an idea to change the world doesn't mean it always has to look like this. It can start ugly, but we refine it, we work at it, and it evolves over time and becomes something that changes the face of everything. But in all of this, I want to reinforce that in your research, research isn't a serious pursuit for those that are dry and boring and never have any fun. Research can be exciting, invigorating process that informs everything we do. And above all else, please don't forget to play. I want you to think about this last analogy about a cardboard box. To us, we see something we can ship things in. What's fascinating is that a 4-year-old sees the box as a cave, a hiding place, a helmet, a fortress, a castle, a plane. Our creativity is entirely dependent upon our ability to make connections between things that aren't normally connected. We need to keep our eyes and ears open. We need to ask good questions and constantly be inquisitive. Be excited about what we do as these children are. That's really my goal for all of you and for myself as we become better graphic designers. Next week, I'll go ahead and read pages 92 through 101, focusing on color. We'll see you again next week. Thanks.